The ping of my phone shattered the evening's calm, revealing a message from Sarah that instantly froze me. Going on a trip with my ex, don't be jealous. It wasn't merely the words. It was the audacious arrogance seeping from every character. For years I had dedicated to patience, understanding, and unwavering loyalty. For years of working grueling overtime shifts, meticulously managing our finances, and tirelessly striving to keep our relationship afloat. Now here she was, nonchalantly announcing a romantic escapade with the very man she once wept over. The one she'd declared had shattered her heart beyond repair. I stared at her text, a vice tightening around my chest, my palms growing clammy. Did she truly expect me to offer a cheerful farewell as she packed her bags for another man? A hollow, bitter laugh escaped me. For months, I'd dismissed the signs. Her phone always flipped face down when I entered the room. The hushed late-night whispers, the sudden, vague excuses for her prolonged absences. I'd battled the creeping suspicion, convincing myself I was merely paranoid. But now, with her own brazen words, she'd laid bare the undeniable truth. The sheer audacity of it ignited a fire within me. This wasn't a request for understanding. It was a taunt, as if I were some naive pet awaiting her casual return. She undoubtedly anticipated a storm of jealousy, perhaps even a desperate plea for her to reconsider. But I refused to grant her that satisfaction. My fingers, surprisingly steady despite the turmoil, typed out my reply. Don't worry, I won't be here when you get back. No second-guessing, no editing. I simply hit send, and a profound, almost eerie calmness settled over me. For the first time, I had decisively flipped the script. I could almost visualize her smug smirk dissolving into utter bewilderment as she read my parting words. She was accustomed to wielding power, to my endless concessions and the humiliation of swallowing my pride to appease her. But this time it was different. My words weren't an idle threat. They were a solemn promise. That night, I packed in methodical silence. Every shirt was folded with a deliberate precision, every drawer emptied, leaving no trace behind. I surveyed our apartment, this supposed sanctuary of our love, and the magnitude of the red flags I'd willfully ignored within these very walls became agonizingly clear. Her lingering perfume on the couch cushions, the framed photos where her smile stretched wider than I ever remembered mine being. Everything suddenly felt staged, a hollow performance. By midnight, my carefully packed bags were already secured in the car. My decision wasn't solely fueled by anger. It was an awakening, a profound clarity. Sarah believed she had me cornered, that she could effortlessly toy with my emotions while I remained her dependable safety net. She was oblivious to the truth. With a single, arrogant message, she had utterly shattered the fragile illusion of control she thought she held over me. The following morning, my phone erupted with a torrent of messages from Sarah. Initially, they carried a light, almost playful tone. Wait, what do you mean you won't be here? Then confusion crept in. Are you seriously upset about this? It's just a trip. And finally, true panic. Where are you? Answer me, please. I offered no reply. I was already on the highway, leaving behind not merely the apartment, but years of painful compromise, the countless instances where I had sacrificed my own dignity for her fleeting happiness. My silence, I knew, resonated far louder than any words I could have penned. I found a small apartment across town, unassuming, yet profoundly peaceful. For the first time in what felt like an eternity, I felt an incredible lightness. There was no longer the exhausting vigilance over her capricious moods, no delicate tiptoeing to avert an argument, no agonizing wait for affection that seldom materialized. Freedom tasted peculiar, sharp and almost bitter, yet undeniably mine. 2 days later, Jason, a mutual friend, called. His voice, a blend of disbelief and pity, echoed with Sarah's predictable narrative. Man, Sarah's going wild everywhere. She's telling everyone you left her because she took a harmless trip. Says you completely overreacted. I let out a hollow laugh. Harmless? I scoffed. She went with her ex. What did she expect? A congratulatory bouquet? Jason paused, then offered a truth that resonated deeply. Honestly, everyone sees exactly what she did. She's just mortified that you refused to play her intended role. You didn't beg, you didn't fight. You simply walked away. That's what's truly consuming her. He was absolutely right. Sarah had always thrived on manipulation and control. Drama, chaos, and subsequent apologies were her carefully honed tools, designed to keep me perpetually tethered. But this time, I had denied her a stage for her performance. I had left her with nothing but silence. And that silence, I realized, was infinitely more deafening than any argument we could have ever waged. Later that week, she appeared at my new doorstep. I did not let her in. Through the closed door, her voice fractured, oscillating between anger and a raw, pleading desperation. You can't just walk away from everything we built. It was just a trip. I needed space. I needed clarity. Don't throw us away over this. Her words rang hollow, utterly devoid of truth. Space. Clarity? She hadn't sought space when she depended on me for her rent, when she routinely borrowed my car for her endless errands, or when she wept on my shoulder about the world's perceived cruelty. No, the only space she ever truly craved was the distance created by her ex's reappearance. I stood listening, but remained entirely unmoved. This ceased to be about love. This was irrevocably about respect. And once that foundation was shattered, there was simply no rebuilding it. Days bled into weeks, and Sarah's messages steadily diminished, growing colder, laced with an escalating bitterness. Her initial pleas swiftly morphed into venomous accusations. You never really loved me. You're heartless. I bet you were just waiting for an excuse to leave. But her barbs, for the first time, failed to pierce their intended mark. I could discern her desperate attempts to wound me, yet her words held no power to sting. She was unraveling, and I was finally, truly free. I immersed myself completely in my work, meticulously rebuilding my routines, and most importantly, rediscovering the fragments of myself I had sacrificed while contorting my existence around her volatile moods. I resumed my workouts at the gym, reconnected with friends I'd long neglected, and indulged in quiet evening walks, no longer needing to account for my whereabouts. That profound, simple freedom, merely existing without constant monitoring, criticism, or the insidious weight of guilt, proved to be infinitely more valuable than anything she had ever purported to offer. One evening, Jason forwarded me a screenshot of Sarah's social media. She had posted a picture with her ex, adorned with a saccharine caption about finding herself and true love never dying. The comments section, however, offered a stark contrast to her likely imagined adoration. People openly questioned her choices, lambasted her for blatant disrespect, and even mocked her for pursuing a relationship that had demonstrably failed once before. I didn't comment, didn't message, didn't even feel a flicker of anger. I simply closed the screen and smiled. The universe, it seemed, had its own impeccable timing for exposing the truth. A month later, Sarah reappeared at my door, but this time, her demeanor wasn't one of anger. She was utterly broken. Her voice trembled as she confessed the trip had been a catastrophic failure. Old habits, old arguments, and old wounds between her and her ex had resurfaced with brutal immediacy. I made a mistake, she whispered, her voice choked with regret. I thought he'd changed, but he hasn't. You were the stable one, the one who genuinely cared. Please give me another chance. I regarded her for a prolonged moment. There was a poignant irony. Once, those very words would have been the entirety of my desire. But not now. Now they were tragically, irrevocably too late. I did love you, I stated quietly, my voice devoid of malice but firm. But love alone cannot sustain a relationship when respect has utterly vanished. You made your definitive choice when you boarded that plane. I made mine when I walked away. Her eyes welled with tears, but my resolve remained unyielding. She departed that night, and I closed the door behind her, not with anger, not with regret, but with an immense, liberating finality. For the first time in years, I was no longer chasing, no longer desperately fixing, no longer endlessly waiting. I was simply beautifully living. And that, I realized, was the most profound and sweetest revenge of all. If this story resonated with you, please consider leaving a comment below. Your thoughts mean the world to us. Don't forget to subscribe to Echo Tales to stay connected and be the first to hear our next captivating narrative. Until then, keep listening, keep exploring, and keep your own story alive.